Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash, Barakata. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and salutations to Ya'akim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the Brother Raya with another video, and I'm going to be using an article from activistpost.com, and the title reads, Experts say eventually everyone will get a microchip implant, and we know that microchip implant is the mark of the beast. And this brings me to my first precept, which we always go to when dealing with the mark of the beast. This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. And he, which is speaking of the elites, you so-called white people, such as the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the DuPonts, causeth all. And what did that title just say? That everyone will eventually get that microchip implant, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, which again is that microchip, verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And this article is going to cover just about every point mentioned in verse 17. That mandatory implementation of that mark of the beast microchip is right around the corner. They're just waiting for the right event to implement that mandatory implementation. There's that beauty right there. After a company in Wisconsin fitted each of their employees with a microchip and claimed they absolutely loved it, many people were adamant that nope, no way, they'd never get chipped like a dog. Some people claimed religious objections, mark of the beast, which is the only truth there is when dealing with this mark of the beast microchip that people should believe. It's the major concern, because if you're an Israelite and an Israelite only, it's life or death whether you take that chip or not, because if you do take that chip, you're going to swallow a nuke and be burned in the lake of fire, which is going to be Babylon the Great, also known as the United States. But if you're of the elect and don't take that chip, then you'll find salvation. While others feel that their privacy has already been invaded quite enough with the advent of smart technology and advertising cookies on the internet, and that's the precursor to them implementing this chip. They're getting people comfortable with invasive technology like this. If you swear to the skies that you'll never get chipped, several experts quoted in an article on USA Today are here to tell you that you're wrong. And the USA Today is a mainstream publication, knowing that this this mandatory implementation is right around the corner if they're pushing it out into the major airways like this. Associate Professor of Sociology at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, Noel Chesley said, "It will happen to everybody, but not this year. Maybe not my generation, but certainly that of my kids." And you can tell this person already isn't in the know, because we're not going to be here for another 20 years waiting for this chip to get mandatorily implemented. It's right around the corner, because as it says in Revelation chapter 12, verse 12, "Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them," which is speaking of the elect of you children of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who have the knowledge of this truth. "Woe or destruction to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea." 2/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as you other heathen nations who are going to get destroyed in this coming calamity. "For the devil," which is speaking of Esau, the so-called white man, "is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." And with the men of GMS and the sincere brothers coming in the spirit of GMS on the highways and byways preaching this word and pushing that vibration of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai out there, it's bringing these major prophecies to their fulfillment, as well as the end of this last heathen kingdom, which is of Esau, the so-called white man. And the elites know that, and they're not ready to go into that hardcore bondage or slavery, as well as with you other Edomites. So they're trying to do anything they can to stop these prophecies from coming to pass and implement their new world order, mainly through that mandatory implementation of that microchip. But that's not going to happen, because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai set the bounds to which you Edomites can't pass, and you just about hit those bounds. Professor Chesley isn't alone in her prediction. Gene Munster of Loop Ventures had a lot to say about the possibility of everyone getting a microchip. He believes it's about 50 years away. Wrong again. These people must be talking to IUIC, who think we're going to be here for another 20 to 30 years building schools and hospitals for you Israelites. Just a crock of shit. That's why y'all need to get destroyed for your ignorance. In 10 years, Facebook, Google, Apple, and Tesla will not have their employees chipped, he says. You'll see some extra forward-looking tech people adopting it, but not large companies. The idea of being chipped has too much negative connotation today, but by 2067, we will have been desensitized by the social stigma, Monster says. The article gushes about the benefits of getting a microchip embedded in your hand. This would go beyond paying with your smartphone. Instead, chip customers, and what do customers do? Buy and sell, would simply wave their hands in lieu of Apple Pay and other mobile payment systems. The benefits don't stop there. In the future, consumers could zip through airport scanners, sans passport or driver's license, open doors, start cars, and operate home automation systems. All of it, if the technology pans out, with the simple wave of a hand. Seriously, how much lazier are humans going to get? They're right about the desensitization, though. There are things going on these days that never in a million years would have been okay decades ago, and that's because popular culture, television, and the internet make it seem a-okay and perfectly normal. When they who rule decide that microchipping is the best way to ensure their total control, you can bet that there will be TV shows and movies and celebrities that all demonstrate the ease and joy of having a microchip. And that's how they're going to get a lot of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, 2/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, by having people like LeBron James, Jay-Z, or Beyonce on the TV talking about how trendy and beneficial it is to get that chip. And this brings me to my next precept. In 2 Timothy chapter 3, I'm going to start at verse 1. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. And we're in the last seconds of these last days right now. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. And we can see that now with this social media culture out there. These are just vain people doing anything to get exposure. And if they push that chip to the point where you've got, as it said in that article, celebrities talking about its benefits, these people are going to easily line up to get it so they can seem trendy and on top of things. And you 2/3 just get it as well as you other heathens, because y'all deserve destruction. But to you sincere Akim of the elect out there, don't take that chip. Everyone's talking about the benefits of getting a microchip. Tech companies are practically waxing poetic about the joys of having a microchip implanted in one's body. In Sweden, Biohacks says nearly 3,000 customers have had its chip embedded to do many things, including ride the national rail system without having to show the conductor a ticket. In the U.S., Dangerous Things, that's a very fitting title, a Seattle-based firm, says it has sold tens of thousands of chips to consumers via its website. The chip and installation cost about $200. After years of being a subculture, the time is now for chips to be more commonly used, says Amal Grafstra, founder of Dangerous Things. We're going to start to see chip implants get the same realm of acceptance as piercings and tattoos do now. In other words, they'll be more visible but not mainstream yet. It becomes part of you the way a cell phone does, Grafastra says. You can never forget it and you can't lose it, and you have the capability to communicate with machines in a way that you couldn't before. And if you do get that chip, you won't have to worry about forgetting it or losing it, because that's an automatic death sentence. The guy who wants you to communicate with machines clearly hasn't been watching the same sci-fi movies that I have, nor has he read Stephen Quayle's terrifying book Terminated. Grafstra isn't the only one who thinks the whole thing is fabulous. One guy even has parties where people can bond over getting microchipped. I'm gonna skip this part right here. Skip that, come to here. What about the dark side of being microchipped? Of course, they didn't mention how easy it would be to shut off the microchip person's access to all of those things, and it isn't like you could just not use your chip if it's embedded in your body. If you were ever in a situation in which you didn't wish to be identified, tough luck. Everything would be right there in your little device implanted under your skin. And that's how Esau wants it. He wants your whole life tagged and monitored. He wants to be like the Most High, showing how much of a damn devil you Edomites and so-called white people are. You proud, covetous blasphemers. Although the current breed of microchips does not have GPS tracking capability, analysts contend that they will one of these days in the not-so-distant future. And the writer of this article makes a very good point here. Anyway, how do you know that there is no GPS tracking technology in that teeny little chip? And you don't. And it does. The chips that you're going to have will track every waking second of your life. Just because they tell you so, and gee, who doesn't want their every move being tracked? That's how simple a lot of you people are. You don't think these governments or corporations or the powers that be have any ill will towards you. You think they're all just doing this to make society better. No. Not every professor or tech expert thinks getting a microchip is a good idea. Mercifully, there are a few voices of reason. Alessandro Acquisti, a professor of information technology and public policy at Carnegie Mellon University's Heinz College, warns that this might not be a good idea, although it doesn't take a PhD to realize this. But that's honestly what you brute beast, carnal, heathenistic people go by, is the outward appearance of man, these prestigious titles. If you hear that, then you'll believe just about anything that person says, especially 2/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Here we are on the highways and byways hitting you with the raw truth of this world, and just because we look a little rough or so-called niggers, spics, or tontos, you don't believe us. You think we're all just full of shit. But you're going to see soon enough when this devil, these Edomites, come down on you in great wrath and start killing a lot of you in mass numbers during that race war. Companies often claim that these chips are secure and encrypted, but encrypted is a pretty vague term, he said, which could include anything from a truly secure product to something that is easily hackable. Another potential problem, Dr. Acquisti said, is that the technology designed for one purpose may later be used for another. A microchip implanted today to allow for easy building access and payments could in theory be used later in more invasive ways to track the length of employees' bathroom or lunch breaks, for instance, without their consent or even their knowledge. Once they are implanted, it's very hard to predict or stop a future widening of their usage, Dr. Acquisti said. I'm going to skip this, skip that. Actually, I'll come down to right here. Well, actually, I'll just read this part here. How it could go down. Some people actually want to be microchipped like a dog. They're lining up for it. If it isn't available to them, they're totally bummed out. Certain folks won't be happy until everyone has a computer chip implanted in them. Here's how this could go. Initially, it would be the sheep who blindly desire to be chipped for their own convenience leading the way. Then it would become remarkably inconvenient not to be chipped, sort of like it's nearly impossible to not have a bank account these days. Then the last holdouts could be forcibly chipped by law, and there will be that mandatory implementation, as well as them pushing this society in the direction to where it would be hard to go about buying or selling or even getting a job without having that chip. That's why you sincere Akim out there are going to have the Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai on your team for you to make it through these coming calamities, because there's going to be famines, race wars, civil wars, world wars, just complete madness out here. The push may be soft at first. It may begin with peer pressure in the workplace. 3 Square Market said the chips are voluntary, but Chesley says that if a company announces a plan to be chipped, the expectation is that you will get chipped or risk losing out out on advancement raises and being a team player. That's what we're worried about, says Brian Allen, Chief of Staff for State Representative Tina Davis, who's introducing a bill in Pennsylvania to outlaw mandatory chip embedding. If the tech is out there, what's to stop an employer from saying either you do this